my name is Alyssa. This is my first video, so it's going to be a little awkward. Today's video is 5 tips on breastfeeding, or what I wish I would have known when I first started breastfeeding. Tip number 1 is surround yourself with support. You know, I was very lucky to have and still have awesome support from my family. You know, I never thought that I would be comfortable just whipping my boobs out in front of my dad and my mom and my sister and brother, but, you know, they've supported me so much. And so, you know, without them, I don't think that I would have been able to come as far as I have breastfeeding. Maybe if you don't have family, friends are a great support. You could find a local moms group. They're surprisingly everywhere. La Leche League is amazing, and I think that there's La Leche League in like every state. They have a website, a Facebook under La Leche League. La Leche League has so much information out there to help new moms, new dads, you know, new parents in general, with breastfeeding and any questions or concerns you have. Because when I was pregnant, I looked at breastfeeding constantly and I thought, I got this, but when my son was born, I had no idea what I was doing. But, you know, you really do learn as you go. We're 14, almost 15 months in and still going strong. My second tip would be find a lactation consultant. I found mine at my local health center or health department, and she changed everything for me. I was so hopeless when we first started. I mean, he wouldn't latch right. I was upset. It was painful. My nipples were cracking, bleeding. There was just no hope. I couldn't do it. Until I found Emily, loved her. She told me that as long as, you know, my son was having wet diapers, I was fine. I didn't have to be this crazy super mom with all of this milk and to not worry about pumping. And, you know, she was just really there to support me. And so finding a lactation consultant, you know, which also kind of ties into finding that support for you, is so important. Tip number 3, and this was a huge one for me, a big deal for me, was don't worry about having this huge stash in your freezer. You know, right when my son was born, the nurse came in, handed me a manual pump and was like, okay, let's get going. And so I thought, I'm gonna have to constantly pump. I have to have this huge stash, freezer full of milk to be successful at breastfeeding. Well, that's honestly just not the case at all. I would look up at all these moms that had so much milk, and I would be pumping half an ounce. And to me, that just wasn't cutting it. That's honestly not the case. If you are pumping, which it takes so much strength to do, shout out to you, that's amazing. You know, I was a working mom and I pumped from the day that my son was born. I pumped every single day. I don't pump anymore because I'm lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom at the moment. But if you are working, or if you need a date night, you need a break from your kiddos, pumping is a great way to do that. And really, honestly, all you need is a few hours worth of milk. You don't need ounces and ounces and ounces. So, you know, don't put all that extra pressure on yourself. It's not good for you. It's not good for your supply. You know, happy mom, happy baby, happy life. 4th tip, and you're gonna hear this from everybody, but drink so much water. You'll be surprised at how much water it takes to feed your baby and to keep you healthy. You can really see such a drop in your supply if you're not drinking a ton of water. I would just get a huge water bottle, either from my mom, my dad, my boyfriend, and just constantly drinking those big water bottles from the hospital they give you. I would fill that up seriously 10 plus times a day. And it gets easier, you know, as it goes. The biggest thing is you will get a hang of it. I know how hard it can be at the beginning, but it does get easier, I promise. Tip number 5, this is my biggest tip for you guys, is find the right flange size. I wasn't using the right size when I first started. It was way too big for me. So when I would pump, I would seriously get half an ounce. I was so upset with myself. I can't tell you how many times I would just spend crying every time I pumped. I would dread it. You know, I thought I'm not making enough milk for my son because when I pump, there's only half an ounce. But pumping is not indicative of how much milk you're actually making for your baby. When I would pump, like I said, I'd get half an ounce until I went to my lactation consultant. She fit me for the right size. I think it's pronounced flangy, I don't know. She fit me for the right size, and it made all the world's difference. I went from literally pumping half an ounce to pumping 5 ounces from one breast. And I was so proud of myself. So finding the right size is key, but giving yourself all the extra love that you can, give yourself all the time that you need to kind of process everything, and just remember it is not this hard forever. I heard people say that and I was like, that's bullshit. It's always going to be this hard. It's always going to be this painful. But I promise it won't. It's second nature now. And you know, your journey for breastfeeding is your own. No stories are alike. And that's another amazing part about breastfeeding, is there's such this amazing bond, and it's your own bond with your baby. I hope that these tips kind of reassure you not to give up, and that things will get easier and you're doing the best you can. And that's truly all that matters. See you guys.